9440. 4405. 944405. 05.
Hello and welcome. I'm Jon Garlick and I'm here with Lieutenant Carl Moses, and this is Calhoun County's Most Wanted. Carl.
Hello, John.
How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
It's good to see you.
You too.
You're getting shorter with your old age.
I am.
I don't know how that happens.
That or you're getting taller.
That doesn't happen. So, speaking of getting somewhere, your folks have done some really good work last week.
Yes, we added one more arrest. Mr. Reeves, as you can see, bringing our total to 5,213.
5,213 people brought to justice with the help of the citizens of Calhoun County.
Yes.
That's awesome stuff.
That is awesome.
So, tell us what's going on down at the Sheriff's Office.
Well, we have been busy. It is officially holiday season.
Oh, yes.
We had our public safety night out the other night down in Oxford.
I heard that was great fun.
It was. It was. We got to pass out some candy. We had a lot of kids come by. They got to rope some steer heads that we had set up there.
You did that at Business After Hours too, didn't you? I mean, Business Expo.
At the expo.
Yeah, the roping the steer.
We were all in our cowboy hats trying to look the part.
You did. You look like such a cowboy.
Well, you know.
It was good.
I am a cowboy at heart.
Did you? Okay. Yeah. I didn't rope any steers when I was at the Sheriff's Office. I thought about it though.
Thought about it.
Yeah. I had some on the road. Cows at large.
Yeah.
Didn't have a rope though. Wouldn't have known what to do with it if I did.
Yeah, but to answer your question, things have been going good. We've been out in the public a lot. We've been in our fall festivals, church events, just trying to get out among the people and help pass out some candy for Halloween.
It's good. The Halloween season is going to be over tonight, and then we've got all of the Christmas parades. But you folks, stay with us, because coming up, we're going to have the first half of our lineup and some really fun guests here on Calhoun County's Most Wanted. Welcome to this week's edition of Calhoun County's Most Wanted. This week's lineup brought to you by Abe's Ace Bail Bonds. Abe's Ace Bail Bonds, located in Heflin, that's Cleburne County, at 256-463-1824, or in Calhoun County, 256-831-0074. First up on our lineup this week, David Phillips. Mr. Phillips, last known to be living in Oxford, he's wanted for possession of a controlled substance. And meet Victoria Pope. Miss Pope, last known to be living in Anniston, she's wanted for robbery third. And this is Kayla Martin. Miss Martin, last known to be living in Oxford, she's wanted for possession of a controlled substance ×2. And meet Johnita Johnson. Miss Johnson, last known to be living in Anniston, she is wanted for obstruction of justice by using a false ID. And this is Jessica Bales. Miss Bales, last known to be living in Anniston, she's wanted for trafficking in stolen identities. And that's it for the first half of the lineup. Stay tuned for the second half later in the show. Welcome back. We hope you saw somebody in that half of the lineup. You might know where they are. If you do, call the Sheriff's Office, call Crime Stoppers, call Lieutenant Carl Moses. You call, he hauls. We are here with some of the most fun people I have ever met. Mischa and DJ White of the Boundary Line Bison Ranch. Bison, Tatanka. Can you do the Tatanka?
Let me get my
Tatanka. There you go. So, I mean, you've got a wonderful story of both working at the depot and you retired and then you got into Bison. So, before you tell us all about the business, we had a conversation off air about the difference between buffalo and bison. So, tell us what the difference is.
There's really no difference. Bison is a scientific name, and buffalo are American buffalo. There's water buffalo, there's American buffalo, but the only difference the Native Americans make is a bison is feedlot, white man taken care of and not honored. And then a buffalo is greatly honored and given free range and given the respect that it should have.
I see.
So we really have buffalo.
You really have buffalo?
Yeah, ours are very respected and very petted.
Aw. So, all right, well, tell us about your ranch, what you do, where is it, and how you got into bison, buffalo.
Well, I got started back in the 90s. We've actually just crossed 25 years of actually having animals on site. I spent a couple of 3 years getting ready for them. So back somewhere in 96 is when it all started. But I grew up with my grandmother for the most part, and watching TV with the Indians and the buffaloes and all the things, and I always wanted the Indians and the buffalo to win, which very few of them did. But it's one of those things that I always liked. Daddy had cows when I was growing up, and I just never could really get into that. And buffalo just look a lot better, and it just kind of a freak way I got into it. A friend of mine had a little catalog that had them advertised in the back, and I started calling and found out that it was actually more of them around. You just didn't really see them in the South. And when I first started, there were, I don't know, 10 or 15 people in the South that had them, and some of those have gotten out. There's a few more that's gotten in. We've helped a few people get in, and it's just been a very interesting travels.
So how many buffalo do you have?
Today we have 10.
Okay.
Have had as many as 27.
Wow.
But we're landlocked, and it works better with what we have to have somewhere around 20.
Okay. And as far as raising cows or cattle versus buffalo, same kind of land requirement?
Everything is pretty much the same except for your handling equipment. Handling equipment for bison are heavier. Most of it has a top on it because standing out in a pasture, they're just as happy as can be. But when you start trying to confine them is when you find out just how much power they have.
Oh.
Because they don't like that.
And they can jump 6 feet.
Can they
flat-footed, yes, yes.
Yeah, they can. But they're just like cows. The only reason they stay in a fence is because they don't realize they can get out. You can have cows that get out, and they're just as much of a problem. But keep them happy, and they just seem to act that way.
The big difference, though, in raising them is that we have domesticated cattle to the point that they're not real smart anymore. They can't take care of themselves, but buffalo do. In fact, if a buffalo is going to have a calf, she'll have the calf, and the rest of the herd will form a circle around her looking outward to protect her. And then once she has the calf, they'll go over and they'll get the calf and they'll kind of rough it up, you think. But they're just getting its lungs cleared and giving the mom time to recover. When she stands up, they'll move the calf back to her and then form the circle of protection around her again.
Have you been able to see that on your ranch?
We have seen some of that activity. They'll usually kind of go in the woods, but we had one that was raised in Tuscaloosa, and the lady hand-fed it all the time. So when she actually dropped a calf, we had a native tribe there when she was having the baby, and they almost got to see the baby drop. I mean, she just walked off right behind a tree when the baby dropped, but they were so excited to get to see a birth of a calf.
Oh, that's so great. So back in the day, like many centuries ago, the buffalo and bison ran free throughout. You know, we always see pictures of them in the plains. They were here as well, weren't they? All over the country?
Yeah, when Columbus got lost and tripped over America, he found buffalo as far down as the tip of Florida, and all the way up the eastern coast. He found buffalo, and there were so many herds that, you know, every time they'd count them, they'd think, oh, this is the biggest herd. No, there's a bigger herd. There were 60 million or so buffalo back then, and at one point, because the Army decided that if they could get rid of the buffalo, they could get rid of the Indians, they tried to kill them all. And we got down to, some people say 150, not 150,000, 150 buffalo in this country. And a few people found them and protected them until they could repopulate. Right now, the National Bison Association is doing a million campaign to try to get up to 1 million. We're not even near that. We're not even up to 600,000.
Really?
But that's one of the reasons we try to get people to start herds and get in the buffalo business, to take care of the animals and respect them and keep them alive.
So what do you do with your buffalo?
We have a couple of things that we do. We actually help form herds. You know, we have ours that we pair with other herds in the area to give people herds. We've started some herds in several places in Alabama. And then we will also sell to restaurants and markets. So we have Nutrition World in Chattanooga, Apple a Day in Gadsden, that we sell to Buckhorn Marketplace in Weaver. Shell's downtown serves our bison burgers. Lost Creek Mercantile in Ranburn is having a special this weekend because it is National Bison Day on Saturday.
Oh, is it really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's cool. Okay.
So, and we have a couple other places that sell our meat and sell our burgers that you can get, and we do also at the ranch.
Well, Southern Harvest
Southern
up in
Harvest,
Fort Payne
right.
has been real
They've done very
supportive
well.
as far as. And the bad part is it's like most other things when you start trying to raise them, the financial component. Unfortunately, you have to process some from time to time because unless you're, totally rich and all you want to do is just look at them, which we have met several people that fit that where they have them for yard art.
Yep.
And but otherwise it has to have a financial part to where you can afford to keep doing what you're doing.
Sure. Well, we're going to take a break, and when we get back, we're going to talk more about Tatanka after the second half of our lineup here on Calhoun County's Most Wanted. And welcome to the second half of our lineup. First up this half, Harold Rhodes. Mr. Rhodes, last known to be living in Anniston, he's wanted for possession of a controlled substance. And meet Charles Brisky. Mr. Brisky, last known to be living in Anniston, he's wanted for burglary third. And this is James Boyd. Mr. Boyd, last known to be living in Anniston, he's wanted for unlawful distribution and furnishing of a controlled substance. And this is Chad Goss. Mr. Goss, last known to be living in Anniston, he's wanted for receiving stolen property first. And take a look at Daryl Curvin. Mr. Curvin, last known to be living in Alexandria, he's wanted for use and possession of a controlled substance. And that's it for our lineup this week. If you have any information on these folks, please give Crime Stoppers a call. That number, 1-833-251-7867. Welcome back. We hope you saw somebody in that half of the lineup, and if you did, you give the Crime Stoppers folks a call or call Lieutenant Carl Moses. You call, he hauls. We're here with Mischa and DJ White of the Boundary Line Bison Ranch, located in Piedmont. Piedmont. Where in Piedmont? Well, we may not want to tell people that want to go visit your bison ranch.
We have stalkers all the time.
Oh,
It's
do you?
okay. Yeah. For the most part, they're good people, and we don't mind. If you're standing at the front door of the Piedmont High School and look out the front door, you see a big field across from you. If you
Okay.
look on the other side of that field, that's where we are.
Oh,
So we're kind of opposite the aquatic center. You go down the road there, and instead of turning left to the aquatic center, you turn right. And generally, the bison are behind the first three houses on that road.
so you can't see them.
You can, if you keep going, don't turn on our road, keep going at the old VFW, which is now a church, you can pull in there. In fact, the preacher there says people pull in there all the time to watch our buffalo.
Oh.
We
they're
actually have a
across the street.
baby right now. We have two that were born this year. So you can see the one is still a little bit red. When they're born, they're called red dogs because they're bright red. You can tell them from the herd very easily because the rest of the herd is darker brown.
Carl saw one, didn't
I did. I did.
you? In the middle of the night,
I
right?
did, yes. Many years ago, I had a car pulled over, and I looked over into the darkness, and I thought, that looks like a buffalo. And it was. So,
We have a lot of people that have that reaction. It's like, I haven't been drinking a drop, but I know I just saw buffalo.
So before we broke, you were talking kind of about the business of this. You have to have money in order to raise buffaloes. Otherwise, unless you're Bill Gates or somebody, you gotta harvest them every now and again, right?
Right.
So how much do you measure that in pounds? I would guess. How many pounds of buffalo meat do you sell a year, do you think?
Well, we usually try to wait till they're about 1,000 pounds to harvest them, and that's at 2.5 years or so. And if you take a 1,000-pound animal to the processor, you're going to end up with about 360 pounds of meat. 300 would be in ground, and 60 or so in your other cuts, your roast and your steaks. Some years, my daughter was going to school at UNA, and she went to every restaurant there and sold to every. We were selling to 12 restaurants in the Florence area at one point, and I think that one year we went through 15 buffalo. That was one of our big years, and we finally had to tell her, quit selling, quit this. We can't afford to continue this. But most years we'll go through 6 or so. We have a concessions trailer, so we do events, and this weekend we'll be doing the Fruithurst Winery Fall Crawl. so we'll be one of their food vendors. Then we do the Porch Creek Powwow at Atmore at Thanksgiving, and that's our biggest event of the year. We've done some local ones. We usually do the Piedmont events, and we did Oxford Fest, so you can usually find some of our good meat at different places.
So when you sell it from your food truck, are you selling like cooked meat, or?
We are.
Yeah, okay.
We have hamburgers, hot dogs, nachos, bison mac, and usually chili, all bison, all buffalo.
I've had bison burgers and bison sausage years and years ago.
Yeah,
And
if we're doing an early event, I'll do a sausage gravy biscuit with bison.
it was good. So bison meat's very healthy for you, right?
Very.
It's lean, isn't it?
It's lower in fat, lower in cholesterol, higher in iron, and higher in omega-3s. It's equivalent in omega-3s to salmon. So if you've had heart problems, if you've had Lyme's disease where you can't tolerate beef, there's an amylase in beef that is not present in bison. You can still eat bison usually, and a lot of people that have problems with red meat of other kinds can still eat bison because it's a little different.
Now, you're an independent family-run bison ranch. Are there commercial, not that yours isn't commercial, but I mean, are there bigger commercial operations that are, so how big are those, and are they the same quality meat as yours? Yours are, do you call them free-range bison? Like we call free-range chicken? Carl likes
Yes,
free-range
yeah.
chicken.
Yeah, we have,
Well, the
we have
big-
some of those too.
The big thing is the difference is between grass-fed or grain-fed. And if you get into grain-fed, that's just like beef that goes through a feedlot. They feed them for 90 to 120 days on grain. When you do that, your omega-3s get fed out of them, so you're losing the real benefit. Ours are grass-fed, hay and such as that, and there is a difference in the taste, and there's a difference when you cook it. It's a big difference in the fat content, and I don't know, it just tastes better.
Well, that's probably the kind I've tasted. I had a friend who went on a hunt out in the plains somewhere, and
Yeah.
I thought that maybe that was a wild hunt. Do they still have wild buffalo? that
There's
you
a
can
few.
hunt?
There's a few places that does the hunts.
Okay.
There are some ranches around that have big operations where they sell all kinds of products that we don't sell. I mean, we do use every part of our animal to honor the animal. I do tallow and broth, and we have 2 big pots, about 50-gallon pots that we actually boil the big bones in, so we can make our own tallow and broth. And we use everything, the hides. In fact, we're taking some hides to Porch Creek so that they can learn to tan. And then we've got a guy that's with another native group that's going to tan some hides.
Oh, wow.
So we've sold most of our hides that we've had tanned commercially, but these folks are going to try to do it the old way.
Well, that's neat.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really wonderful. So, all right, you're not really open for business there, so people can't knock on your door and buy bison
They
meat?
do.
They do? Oh, okay.
All the time.
So
yeah.
great. So what are your
We ask them
hours?
to call first because we're the ranch hands and the owners. So if we're out delivering meat or taking animals, we're closed. So
Okay,
you just
so-
call for an appointment.
What's your phone number?
256-447-8811.
The Boundary Line Bison
Ranch. We're on
in Piedmont.
Facebook. You can see pictures of the animals, videos of the animals, and see our phone number there. But call first.
Mischa, DJ, thank you for coming on the show and talking about this. I just think it's fascinating.
Pleasure to be here.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And for you guys, stay tuned. We're going to have our crazy criminal coming up right after our Crime Stoppers here on Calhoun County's Most Wanted. And welcome to the Crime Stoppers portion of our show, where we ask your help on the following cases. First up, on October 24th, an unknown person or persons attempting to burglarize a residence on Hollingsworth Drive in Wellington damaged the store. And October 22nd, an unknown person or persons burglarized the Oxford Waterworks on Airport Road in Oxford. A demo saw generator and 2 hand trucks were stolen from that location. And on October 23rd, an unknown person or persons broke into a vending machine outside the food outlet in Alexandria and stole the change box. And that's it for the Crime Stoppers cases. If you have any information on these cases, please call Crime Stoppers. That number, 1-833-251-7867.
Stupid! You're so stupid!
Carl,
Yes,
it's crazy criminal time.
it is.
Ooh, take us there.
So this guy, Mr. Johnny Yates, was wanted by his local police department, and he did not want to go to jail, so he fashioned this clever sign here that says Johnny Yates does not live here.
That's great.
Spoiler alert, Johnny did live there.
You think?
He did, and despite his best efforts, he was eventually captured and taken to jail.
What did old Mr. Yates do that would warrant such a sign?
You know, I'm not sure, but whatever it was, he didn't want to go to jail for.
He didn't. He soaked up his windows and hid
He
very
did.
well. And that's always a clue. You know, just make sure you tell law enforcement that you're not there.
You're not there.
I'm not here. I'm invisible. You don't see me.
You're not going to find me. If you look.
I don't. I'm not here. I'm not him. That's right up there with lying.
Yeah,
Right. I mean, that's what it is.
it's close.
Yeah. So, sheriff's office still hiring? Yes.
Yeah, we
Always hiring.
Yeah.
Yep. What are you hiring for?
You know, we're always hiring to work in the jail. We have a academy coming up in January, so if you're interested in being deputy, now would be a good time to apply.
Yep. Would be a great time.
Yeah.
What are the requirements to be a deputy?
Well, you got to have graduated high school, and then we put you through a test. You got to run a mile and a half, 15 minutes, 28 seconds, do 22 push-ups and 25 sit-ups in a minute, and then you're good to go.
Good to go. Then you go to the academy. Yeah. Sparky says he can do that. He's ready to go. But that's a requirement to be an A-Post certified deputy, right?
That's correct.
What are the requirements to work in the jail?
Well, not that. Basically, you just as long as you have
High school diploma.
graduated high
yes,
school
yeah.
and you know
18 years of age.
you hadn't really been to jail before. We you know we can't take anyone that's previously been incarcerated.
Yeah, that makes
but,
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. But otherwise,
Otherwise, come on down and apply.
and that's a great place to start. A lot of people have started their careers at the sheriff's office or in law enforcement,
They
working
have.
in the jail.
They have.
Right?
That's a great place to start.
Yeah. Teaches you all kinds of good stuff. So if they're interested in applying, where do they go to get that information?
Well, they can call the sheriff's office, or they can go online to our website. We have a feature now where you can apply online.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
Well, that's awesome. So if you're interested in changing careers or starting a career, go to the sheriff's office website, fill out an application, and all will be well. You might start in the jail. In the meantime, we look forward to seeing you again next week, but hopefully not in the lineup here on Calhoun County's Most Wanted.